Tonight, South Australia taking a cautious backward step, tightening restrictions with hundreds more COVID cases reported interstate. And Broken Hill Health Service further strengthens its rules.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Louise Hubar begins now.
Good evening. As new coronavirus cases continue to skyrocket in the eastern states, South Australia is taking no risks with tough new restrictions to come into effect as of midnight tonight. Weddings, funerals and family gatherings will be capped, and South Australian residents stranded in Victoria won't be allowed back into SA.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, with Victoria's hotspot of COVID cases now prompting South Australia to block off the safe state.
There is a significantly elevated threat that Victoria poses to the rest of the country.
One new case confirmed late this afternoon in SA, a woman in her 20s who had travelled from interstate. As of midnight tonight, only essential workers will be allowed into South Australia from Victoria, leaving some SA residents stranded. Hundreds of South Australians making a mercy dash today by car and plane to get back in before the lockdown.
The worst thing that could happen for the health of South Australians and the economy of South Australia would be to see a major outbreak occur in SA.
Police say they'll be out in force tonight, casting a wide net over border checkpoints, with fixed-wing planes taking to the air to spot anyone trying to sneak through. Following the announcement on Friday the borders would close, more than 3,000 people have flooded into the state, 1,600 of those residents deemed essential workers. Family gatherings in SA also getting locked down to 50 people, and weddings and funerals capped at 100.
I recently did a wedding for 6 people, so being able to have up to 100 people capped at weddings I think is relatively generous for the current situation that we're facing.
Wedding plans have been thrown into chaos, with one West Coast couple deciding to reschedule their special day due to families stuck across the border.
They've chosen to postpone their wedding now until 2021. He has children in Victoria, and obviously throughout the current crisis in Victoria doesn't allow them to travel here to South Australia.
Despite the unfolding crisis in the east, it hasn't stopped holidaymakers here in Port Lincoln cooped up at home wanting to get away, with travel agents busier than ever.
Probably the most inquiry I've had is Queensland, which obviously this time of year when it's cold down here sparks a bit of interest.
While Western Australia remains tight on its borders, Tasmania has rolled out the welcome mat to visitors, but the advice from the experts is to plan your trip carefully.
Jetstar have started doing some direct services out of Adelaide to Tasmania. Obviously, if you travel via Victoria at the moment, that presents an issue with regard to quarantining.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Meanwhile, in Broken Hill, anyone wanting to visit a patient in a Far West health facility must now wear a mask in order to be let in. The new safety measure coming as New South Wales grapples with even more cases.
The latest precaution in the fight against a coronavirus outbreak.
New South Wales Health have issued advice to basically everyone in New South Wales that if you're going to a hospital or a health facility to please wear a mask.
With 14 new COVID-19 cases in New South Wales and 384 in Victoria, the Far West Local Health District welcoming the rule. It is now mandatory for anyone visiting a health centre in the region to wear one. That includes patients with an appointment.
It could change in the next half an hour. We could find out that somebody has been confirmed case in the region, so we have to remain vigilant.
The health service asking visitors to bring their own mask or face covering rather than using ones critical for staff and patients.
Some places around town are selling all sorts of different types of masks, and really it's about just a mask or even a face covering. So if you haven't got a mask, a scarf, something around just to sort of minimise that droplet transmission.
The masks coincide with new visiting hours at regional health facilities, 10 to 12 and 5 to 7, with one visitor per patient per day. Patrick Ryankey, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Augusta's most vulnerable will now receive extended support through the city's Substance Misuse Service. The program receiving a new mode of transport in order to reach those away from critical services.
A vital service which transports 400 clients a month. Port Augusta's assertive outreach program further accessing those in need.
They do take clients from the Sobering Up unit to the breakfast program in the mornings. They also take people to medical appointments and also court hearings as well to make sure that they get the help and assistance that they need.
An additional vehicle and extended hours now available for the program.
Well, this allows us, I guess, a bit more access into certain areas now that we've got a four-wheel drive capability as well, so we can locate people in more areas.
The expansion part of funding through the National Indigenous Australian Agency. The move welcome news for the City Council and its community.
We've been looking to extend the hours of the program for a long time, and it's just been a matter of finding the appropriate funding to support that, and having the addition of the vehicle will certainly assist getting those staff out there to where they're most needed.
Partnering with local business enterprise to receive the vehicle in the knowledge they'll be able to access more people easier.
Being able to rent out a vehicle as well as health is a double whammy for us, so we're overjoyed to be a part of it. And we're hoping to be able to assist going on further.
The additional service hours are between 7 and 3 on weekends. Those in need of the service are encouraged to contact 8641 9171. Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, Red Cross puts a call out for more volunteers and a new Aldi store in Broken Hill on Council's agenda. Hello again. Red Cross regional volunteers have been under the pump to assist those who need it most during these trying times. Now, Port Pirie's centre is desperately calling out for more residents to come and assist with their vital work.
Feeling the pinch during tough times, these Red Cross volunteers have been working around the clock to help.
Across the Mid-North region, we have about over 150 active volunteers, so that's within our emergency services programs as well.
Now more Port Pirie volunteers are desperately needed to fill an ever-increasing demand.
We're really keen to get some more people on board, especially with the changing environment and not knowing what's happening with COVID. We'd love to upskill some new people in Red Cross and get them trained up, ready to go.
There's not just one role at the Port Pirie Centre. Responsibilities range from calling vulnerable community members to getting out on the road.
We ring people that may be elderly or living alone, or they may have some disability, and we check on them every day to make sure that they're okay.
A couple of young ladies with a disability to school every morning. I do that twice a week. I also do another run through to Port Broughton to help somebody out there.
Volunteers say it's a rewarding job, more now than ever.
We may be the only person that they'll speak to all day, especially with the COVID-19. A lot of people are isolated and they can't have their usual support systems.
Residents are being encouraged to give up their time and help those who need it most.
I just walked past and seen the sign outside said volunteers wanted, so I just put my head in and then they grabbed me and didn't let go.
It is rewarding, and it is an opportunity to make a contribution to the community.
A contribution which may go both ways. Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A 42-year-old Port Augusta man has been arrested following multiple break-ins last night. A number of items were stolen from a business on Victoria Parade. Patrols later located the man on Tassie Street. The officers were allegedly assaulted while trying to arrest the man after a short foot chase. The man is linked to 2 other car break-ins. He was remanded in custody and expected to appear in the Port Augusta Magistrates Court in September. A 28-year-old Port Lincoln motorist has lost his licence after allegedly drink driving. Patrols pulled him over on Saturday afternoon. It's alleged he returned a blood alcohol reading of .080. Police were horrified to find that 3 children, all under the age of 16, were in the car at the time. He's due to appear in court at a later date. A P-plater has been arrested after allegedly failing to comply with a breath test in Port Pirie on Sunday. A search of the car revealed a quantity of cannabis and a baton, according to police. The 19-year-old was issued with a 12-month loss of licence and is due to appear in the Port Pirie Magistrates Court in October. Meanwhile, a 34-year-old woman has lost her licence for 6 months and is due to appear in court after allegedly blowing 0.098 at Ceduna yesterday morning. A new Aldi store in Broken Hill could be given the tick of approval as the city's councillors prepare to meet tomorrow night. The supermarket chain lodging a development application to build its first business in the Far West.
It's an empty block of land at the corner of Galena and Will Street. Could it be the home of a Broken Hill Aldi? Tomorrow night, the city's councillors will decide whether they support the project or not.
It's a very big project, and it's very encouraging for our city that organisations like that are looking to come to our city. It's great for our economy.
The potential $6 million store would feature a 91-space car park, a loading dock on Will Street and greenery around the perimeter. The consensus from councillors is that it will be approved.
I know a lot of people want Audi, and I'm one of those people that, you know, anything that is in addition good, but if it's going to have a huge impact on the current local businesses, then it needs to be taken into account.
Wednesday's council meeting will again be held through video conferencing. A proposal will be put forward for future gatherings to return to the local chamber if safe to do so.
All councillors have voiced their opinion that we should be returning to the council chamber. So hopefully after July's meeting, we will be returning to the chamber.
Council has not met in person since March due to coronavirus, with that meeting closed to the public and to the media. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us. Coming up after the break, a reality TV show set to be filmed in Port Lincoln, but organisers are tight-lipped on what it is. And Eyre Peninsula's festivals thrown a lifeline. Welcome back. Eyre Peninsula is set to be showcased on the national stage with a reality TV show expected to be filmed in and around Port Lincoln this year. Contestants and crew members will start filming on location in the first weekend of October, and the show will be broadcast at a later date. The production company has remained tight-lipped on what the series is about, but it is on the lookout for locals to support staff. It's not the first time the region has been in the spotlight, with season 1 of Australian Survivor filmed at Whalers Way in 2001. And production has started on a new mini-series about the Royal Flying Doctor Service in Broken Hill. Locals may have seen film trucks camped out on the Memorial Oval complex over the past week. They're here to shoot across the region for the upcoming drama about the RFDS. Locations include the Palace Hotel and an airport hangar. A casting call-out has been put out to locals wanting to be extras on the show. Lymphedema sufferers will soon receive a subsidy towards medical compression garments critical for treatment of the illness. The member for Frome, Jeff Brock, has spent years advocating for Mid-North patients to receive financial relief for the items.
Lymphedema compression garments don't come cheap, but now a new program will help provide relief to regional patients.
The Minister has now put a subsidy scheme in place, and I'm very grateful that after 3.5 to 4 years we're finally getting some assistance for these people.
The subsidy will offer 2 custom-made garments every 6 months, with hundreds set to benefit.
Be absolutely life-changing for many people living with lymphedema in South Australia.
20% of women who are diagnosed with breast cancer will go on to develop lymphedema. There are similar figures for other cancers.
The member for Frome says the grant is critical, with some sufferers struggling to afford the treatment.
The cost of living for these people is very, very expensive, and they've also got medication and things like that to take onto account.
Many people who have perhaps never been able to afford them at all before are now finally going to be able to have access to them.
Residents in need of the subsidy are being urged to contact their local health services. Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Whyalla will be receiving a $4 million boost to its power network substation to improve reliability before the expected increase of electricity demand this summer. Work has begun on the site, and there will be a delivery of a mobile substation on Gowrie Street. The overall project will be continuing until late November. SA Power Network will notify residents of any power interruptions. Eyre Peninsula festivals have been thrown a $60,000 lifeline to help drive visitation numbers. The Colotumbi Street Festivals, Seduna's Oyster Fest, Streaky Bay's Rodeo by the Sea and Port Lincoln's Tunarama and Salt Festival have all shared a slice of the funding. The money is part of the South Australian Tourism Commission's $350,000 plan to support events across the state. Stay with us. After the break, Laura will have a wrap-up of local sport results and we'll have the weather with Britt. Hello again. Now to take a look at local sport. Seasons have well and truly kicked back off for many clubs, navigating their way through what's been an uncertain one so far. Laura Milovanovic has your weekly sports wrap.
Looks like more competition is heating up right around the region. The Broken Hill netball season starting right back where it left off for round 3. Netballers were back on the courts after their last game in March. And the St Joe's Jesters were hungry for a win, taking the game against the Morgies by 12 goals. The Jesters now sitting at the top of the ladder. On the other courts, it was a close game for Williama Red, taking victory over St Joe's by just 3 goals. And United are sitting just under the top 4 after their win against Wilma Bullstrop. Onto the courts in Whyalla, and Kiwi remain undefeated after their 28-goal win over the Ravens. They sit comfortably in top position heading into next round's match against bottom of the ladder Rupina. True Blue were too strong for Warriors, getting up by 11 goals. And Rupina couldn't find it in them to get a win, this their 5th consecutive loss for the season. Moving on to soccer now, the game at Argana Park was the opposite of a nail-biter, with Savoy unable to get onto the score sheet against Elizabeth Downs, losing 6-0. But it was good news in the State League though, with the Northern Demons getting back into the winner's circle after Christopher Anisi and Diego Garcia both found the back of the net, leading to a 2-0 victory over Mount Barker. And in Port Lincoln men's hockey, Marauders were on top, downing Flinders with a final score of 5-2. The Panthers had an easy day over the Wanderers, winning 4-0. And it was quite the same in the women's fixture, both Marauders and Panthers getting up in their respective matches. That's all we have for sports around the region. We'll be back next week with more results as finals at each club inch closer.
Now for a look at the rest of your week's weather, here's Britt Aylen.
Thanks, Louise, and good evening. It's been a cold but mostly sunny day with maximum temperatures sitting up to 5 degrees below average. Woodner recorded the region's high, reaching 18 degrees this afternoon. 15 was the top temp at Broken Hill, Port Pirie, Kadina and Cleve, with Port Augusta, Whyalla and Port Lincoln all reaching 14, Clare 13, Coffin Bay 12. Taking a look at today's satellite images now, and we can see cloud moving over southern parts of South Australia due to an approaching trough and front, bringing the odd shower over the west coast. Elsewhere, clear skies under a high pressure system. Moving on to tomorrow, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Winds variable at around 10 knots with seas below half a metre. Swells south to southwesterly, increasing to 1 metre in the south. So let's see what Wednesday has in store near you. A possible shower over Port Lincoln tomorrow, otherwise partly cloudy with a high of 17 degrees. Cleve mostly sunny with a top of 18. Woodner mostly sunny and 20. A sunny day at Whyalla tomorrow, looking at a top of 20 degrees. Light morning frost at Port Augusta ahead of a sunny day, 22 the high there. Kadina, morning frost then mostly sunny, a top of 17 degrees. Port Pirie, light early frost with an overnight low of 1 degree. A sunny afternoon with a high of 18. 0 overnight at Clare, but warming up to a top of 16. Morning frost but sunny later on. And finally to Broken Hill, sunny tomorrow with a top of 19 degrees. Taking a look through to the end of the week now, fine and partly cloudy across the region on Thursday, apart from Broken Hill where it's looking to be a sunny day. Maximum temperatures in the mid to late teens. Port Augusta and Woodner with highs of 19, Broken Hill and Port Pirie 17, Port Lincoln and Kadina 16. Friday, bright and sunny about the Spencer Gulf with areas of cloud about the lower air peninsula. Port Augusta and Woodner both 22, Whyalla 20, a high of 19 degrees for Port Lincoln and Port Pirie, Kadina 18. And now to Saturday where it's looking mostly fine across the region, getting up to 23 degrees at Port Augusta, Whyalla 21, Woodner and Port Pirie both 20, Broken Hill 19, Kadina 18, Port Lincoln 17. And Louise, before I go, there is a frost warning in place for our viewers in the mid-north tomorrow morning, so be ready to defrost your windscreen and take care on the roads.
All right, thank you for that, Britt. That wraps up your local news for your Tuesday evening. Thank you, as always, for joining us. We'll have updates later. See you then.